For more than 25 years, Judge Judy Schindlin had ruled her courtroom with precision. She had seen every type of case imaginable: fraud, betrayal, landlord disputes, broken families, and financial manipulation. And through all of it, one rule remained true. She never broke character, never showed emotion, never hesitated. Her courtroom was built on discipline, logic, and absolute control. But on one particular morning, something entered her courtroom that would challenge even that reputation. A case involving a retired U.S. Army veteran, a grieving father, and a housing system allegedly built on targeting America's most vulnerable heroes. And it all began with a single folded letter. James Mitchell was 67 years old, a retired Army veteran, but the man standing in the courtroom that day didn't look like someone who had survived war. He looked like someone life had slowly broken down over time. His posture was stiff, military discipline still holding him together. But his eyes told a different story, tired and defeated. He stood in silence in the defendant's chair, gripping the wooden rail like it was the only thing anchoring him to reality. Across from him sat Patricia Brennan, well-dressed, confident, composed. She represented a property management company called Patriot Gardens Apartments. Her claim was simple. James Mitchell owed over $8,500 in unpaid rent and property damage. On paper, it looked like an open and shut case. Patricia spoke first. Her tone was calm, professional, and rehearsed. She described months of lease violations, property damage, noise complaints, and unpaid rent. Then she presented photographs, damaged walls, broken fixtures, the destroyed apartment unit. To anyone watching, the evidence seemed overwhelming. It looked like a clear case of negligence. James Mitchell looked like just another tenant who had fallen behind and left chaos behind. But Judge Judy didn't react the way Patricia expected, because something didn't feel right. Judge Judy had spent decades learning one critical skill: people lie, but behavior rarely does. And James Mitchell's behavior didn't match the story. He wasn't defensive, he wasn't angry, he wasn't trying to avoid responsibility. He simply stood there, silent, as if he had already accepted whatever was coming. That silence raised a question in Judge Judy's mind, so she turned to him. "Mr. Mitchell, do you have anything to say?" For a long moment, James said nothing. Then slowly, his hand moved inside his worn military jacket. He pulled out a folded piece of paper, worn soft from years of handling, clearly read over and over again. His voice cracked slightly. "Your Honor, this is from my daughter. She wrote it before she died." The courtroom shifted immediately. The energy changed. Judge Judy accepted the letter and began reading line by line, second by second, and something unexpected happened. Her expression changed. Not dramatically, but noticeably. The sharp, controlled confidence softened just slightly. She read it again, slower this time, more carefully. The letter was from Sarah Mitchell, Army medic, 2 combat tours, honorable service. But also something else. A tenant of Patriot Gardens Apartments owned by Patricia Brennan, and she had been evicted while dying of stage 4 cancer. A heavy silence fell over the courtroom. This was no longer just a landlord case. It had become something else entirely. Personal, emotional, serious. For the first time, Patricia's confidence cracked slightly. Judge Judy closed the letter but kept it in her hand, as if it mattered more than anything else in the room. Then she turned to Patricia. "How many veteran tenants have you evicted in the past 3 years?" Patricia hesitated. "Maybe 10 or 12. Judge Judy opened a file. Court records show 23. Silence. The courtroom shifted again. Patricia's lawyer leaned toward her, whispering urgently, but she didn't respond. Judge Judy continued. Every veteran tenant followed the same timeline. 8 to 11 months of residency, sudden damage accusations, inflated repair bills, inability to pay, eviction, collections. A cycle. Not coincidence, a system. And that system had generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in claims. Then came a crucial discovery. All repair work was done by one contractor, RB Construction Services, owned by Patricia Brennan's brother. Invoices revealed something disturbing. Repair costs were massively inflated. Work that should cost $800, $200 was billed at over $4,000. Judge Judy didn't accuse yet. She simply presented the pattern, and the pattern spoke for itself. Judge Judy leaned forward. Her tone changed. Stronger, colder, clearer. This is not random behavior. This is a structured system. A financial cycle targeting vulnerable veterans. And then she returned to Sarah's letter. Sarah had described everything. Her illness, her financial struggle. And the moment Patricia came to her hospital room, not to offer help, but to demand payment, even while she was dying, the courtroom was completely silent, not procedural silence, emotional silence. The kind that fills a room when everyone understands something deeply wrong has been exposed. Judge Judy closed the file and delivered her ruling. The eviction was dismissed, all damage claims rejected, fraud established, compensation ordered. But she didn't stop there. The case would be referred for full criminal investigation. In the following weeks, more victims came forward, veterans from multiple properties, all describing the same pattern. The numbers grew: 23 families, then 29, then more. Over $600,000 in fraudulent claims were eventually uncovered. Patricia Brennan was arrested, charged with fraud, conspiracy, and elder abuse-related offenses. Her brother was also convicted for his role. Sentences followed, businesses collapsed, restitution orders were issued, and the system she built unraveled completely. But the story didn't end with punishment. The apartment complex itself was taken over, rebuilt, renamed Mitchell House, a veteran housing community free from exploitation, built on accountability instead of manipulation. James Mitchell never became wealthy, never became famous, but he gained something else: peace, community, and purpose. He still carries Sarah's letter every day, not as evidence anymore, but as a reminder that even in death, a voice can still create justice. Sarah Mitchell never lived to see the outcome, but her final words exposed a system, stopped a pattern, and protected dozens of lives she never met. And in the end, that may be the most powerful legacy of all.